Escape to Egypt, from Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 23, and Luke chapter 2, verses 39 through 40. Remember, where do we find the accounts of Jesus' birth? In Matthew 1 and 2 and Luke 1 and 2. Well, if you remember our last lesson, we had been learning about the wise men. And the wise men had just finished a long, exhausting journey. They had followed a star that announced the birth of the King of the Jews. They had wanted to come and worship him, and they had thought the king would be in the palace in Jerusalem. So that's where they went first. But King Herod didn't know about the new king, and he didn't want anyone to take his place. So he had told the wise men to come back and tell him where the child was so that he could worship the new king too. But that's not really what he wanted to do. Finally, the wise men had found the new king of the Jews, the young Jesus. They had given the little king gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and they had worshipped him. The wise men may have stayed in Bethlehem that night because Matthew 2, verse 12 says, "And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way." The Bible tells us that their dream made it clear to them that they should not go back to Herod in Jerusalem. Even though the wise men didn't know how mean and sneaky Herod was, God knew, and he was going to protect Jesus. So the wise men planned a new route from Bethlehem, a route that took them far from Herod so that they could get back to their country and never have to see Herod again. Meanwhile, an angel came to Joseph in another dream. The angel said, "Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him." In other words, the angel told Joseph to get up and take the young child Jesus and his mother and escape to Egypt. He told him to stay there until he had told them it was safe, because Herod was going to search for the child to kill him. Joseph woke Mary. The two of them dressed, packed what they could easily take, and slipped quietly out into the night, carrying little Jesus in their arms. While Mary and Joseph were taking Jesus safely to Egypt, Herod realized that the wise men weren't coming back to tell him anything, so he didn't know exactly where the new king could be found. And he became furious. "How dare those wise men not report back to me as I told them to do?" King Herod fumed. He probably thought to himself, "I know this new king was born in Bethlehem, so I know what I'll do. I'll show them who's the king around here." Remember, Herod was really wicked. He had killed his sons. He had killed his wife. He didn't want anybody to take his place as king. Herod called his soldiers to the palace. "Prepare for a march," he ordered. "I'm sending you to Bethlehem," Herod continued, his voice trembling with fury. "Listen to my orders." Matthew 2:16 tells us what King Herod's orders were. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coast thereof, from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. Oh, how sad was that! He sent and had his soldiers kill all the children that were 2 years old and younger. Why do you think King Herod gave such a terrible order? Well, he was jealous, wasn't he? And he wanted to be king, and he didn't want anybody else to be king but him. The soldiers must have realized that King Herod was angry and worried and jealous that a new young king might take his place as ruler. Herod wanted to kill Jesus before he grew up. But by the time the soldiers arrived in Bethlehem, Joseph and Mary and Jesus were safely on their way to Egypt. Jesus lived safely in Egypt for several years. Matthew 2, verses 19 through 21 tells us what happened when Herod died. But when Herod was dead, behold, an angel of the Lord appeareth in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and go into the land of Israel, for they are dead which sought the young child's life. So an angel appeared to Joseph while they were in Egypt, and told them it was safe for them to return to Israel. And he arose, and took the young child and his mother, and came into the land of Israel. The little family traveled north again. If you look on the map, the top map, you can see about where Egypt is at the bottom of that map, and then they had to travel up the Mediterranean Sea. So when they got close to Jerusalem, Joseph got another warning from God. But when he heard that Archelaus did reign in Judea in the room of his father Herod, he was afraid to go thither. So Joseph heard that Herod's son was reigning, and he thought, I better not go by Jerusalem. And then it says, notwithstanding, being warned of God in a dream, he turned aside into the parts of Galilee. So here he has another dream. Joseph has so many dreams. God speaks to Joseph in dreams, and God can speak to you in dreams as well. So they went around Jerusalem, and he took Mary and Jesus back to Nazareth in Galilee, where Mary and Joseph had both lived before Jesus was born. God had kept Jesus safe so he could grow up and fulfill God's amazing plan to save the world. Mary and Joseph had left Nazareth before Jesus was born, and now they were back in their old hometown. Luke chapter 2, verse 40 tells us this about Jesus' childhood. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. That's talking about Jesus. He grew, he waxed strong in spirit, he was filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. So Joseph, you see him in the picture here. The Lord spoke to him in a dream and warned him. And the wise men, they were warned in a dream. And King Herod, all of these people made different choices in our lesson today. And you know what? We make many choices every day. People often wear party hats to celebrate the new year. They sometimes choose to do something different in the new year. So typically, at New Year's, people stop and think, let's see, what was the last year like? What did I do? What would I like to change for this year? Oh, I gained too much weight. I think I'll lose weight. Oh, I didn't read my Bible. I think I'll read my Bible more this year. And they make some what they call resolutions. The start of a new year is a great time to think about a very important choice. The same choice the people in our lesson had to make, whether or not to love and obey God. We have to make that choice all the time, don't we? And now is a time to really think about that choice. Are we going to love and obey God? God's love and salvation through Jesus is offered to everyone, but we must all decide whether or not to accept God's love and salvation. Joshua 24:15 says, And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Let's say the last part of that verse together. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. And that's a decision you can make. You can say, for my life, I am going to serve the Lord. God's love for us will never change, and every day we can choose to love and follow Him. And when you do, it shows that you really have accepted Jesus as your Savior. You know, if you accept Jesus as your Savior, but you don't love God and you don't act like a Christian, then, I wonder if you really have accepted Jesus as your Savior. Because, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he's a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are made new. So I hope that you will choose to love and follow Jesus every day. When Joseph took Mary and Jesus to Egypt for protection from Herod, he was fulfilling a prophecy made many years before. Remember, there were a lot of prophecies in the Old Testament about Jesus, over 300 that were fulfilled. And here in Hosea 11, verse 1, it says, "When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son." So Jesus was to come out of Egypt. And when they fled to Egypt, and then he came out of Egypt, this fulfilled this prophecy. So in the Old Testament, God had promised to send a Savior. Remember, where is that first promise? Genesis 3:15, that's right. And there are over 300 prophecies about Jesus coming, how he would die, where he would be born, that he would be born of a virgin, that he would be crucified, that he would come out of Egypt. And every part of Jesus' life showed over and over again that he is the one God had promised to send. Jesus is the promised Savior. So let's make a decision to love God and obey God every day.
After they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to look for the child to kill him." Then he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and went to Egypt. He stayed there until Herod died. In this way, what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet was fulfilled. "I called my son out of Egypt." When Herod saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, he became enraged. He sent men to kill all the children in Bethlehem and throughout the surrounding region from the age of 2 and under, according to the time he had learned from the wise men. Then what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and loud wailing, Rachel weeping for her children, and she did not want to be comforted, because they were gone. After Herod had died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who were seeking the child's life are dead." So he got up and took the child and his mother and returned to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. After being warned in a dream, he went to the regions of Galilee. He came to a town called Nazareth and lived there. Then what had been spoken by the prophets was fulfilled, that Jesus would be called a Nazarene.
Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you, for Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him." And he rose and took the child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. Like Judea, Egypt was part of the Roman Empire at that time, but it was beyond Herod's rule and control. Egypt was an imperial province ruled by Augustus, the Roman emperor himself. Jesus and his family likely lived among a Jewish community in Egypt and would have enjoyed a degree of anonymity and separation from Hellenistic culture. Then, Herod the Great finally died around March of 4 BC. The Gospels then describe a visitation to Joseph. After Herod died, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt and said, "Get up, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who were trying to take the child's life are dead." So he got up, took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning in Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. Having been warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee, and he went and lived in a town called Nazareth. So was fulfilled what was said through the prophets, that he would be called a Nazarene.